one of the hottest natural anti-aging products on the market.
These smart trackers are so beneficial, they could potentially save your life.
Welcome to Excel Radio with Dr. Nick Zyrowski, where we talk with world-class entrepreneurs, executives, and health experts who have unlocked the secrets to Excel health and performance.
Hi, and welcome to Excel Radio. This is your host and high-performance expert, Dr. Nick Zyrowski. In this episode, we're going to be talking about a couple hot topics, one of them being collagen and how beneficial that is to the human body. And then we're also going to be talking about fitness trackers and smart trackers and how they can benefit your overall health. So here I have Ashley with me today. How are you doing today, Ashley?
I am doing great. Thanks for asking. It's an absolutely beautiful day here in Michigan, and I'm afraid it's one of the last ones for the year. If you live on the West Coast, you will know that it was really nice, and then all of a sudden the cold snuck in, and it's just about ready to work its way here to Michigan. So just trying to enjoy the last nice day that we have outside today.
Right. You know, it's funny because as patients have been coming in and I've been talking with them and, we've been enjoying this weather so much. And I'm like, you just wait. It's going to be 70 degrees and then we're going to wake up the next day and there's going to be 6 inches of snow. And in fact, that's what's going to happen. We're supposed to have 70 degree weather today. And then tomorrow it's actually supposed to be snowing.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, I had a fun fact for you guys today, and the fun fact is about Turkey Day coming up. So Thanksgiving is coming up. Everybody says turkey makes you tired. And so when you go and you're eating that turkey dinner, you become amazingly tired after that. And so the scientific explanation, this is my fun fact, the scientific explanation behind that is because turkey contains tryptophan. And so tryptophan is needed for the body to produce serotonin. And then serotonin is used to make melatonin. And melatonin is a hormone that is a sleep hormone. So it actually will make you a little bit tired. Now, the interesting thing about that is that everybody says turkey makes you tired. However, turkey actually has less tryptophan in it than chicken. So it's really not the fact that turkey has tryptophan in it that you get tired after a Thanksgiving meal. The real reason for that is that after a big meal, because people most likely are going to stuff themselves on Thanksgiving, their parasympathetic nervous system kicks in, and that is what is actually causing you to be tired. So your body goes into this rest and digest state, and your body just wants to rest because at that point it needs to digest.
Has so much food it needs to digest. It's on overload.
Yeah, and so that's my fun fact. Now, I wanted to cover briefly a little topic, and that's that I actually hired a coach to work with me one-on-one. And the reason I want to cover that is because I know that a lot of people who are listening to this show are actually people that I have worked with before or maybe will work with in the future. And it's interesting because I coach people one-on-one for their health all the time. Now, I've never actually hired a coach to coach me one-on-one. And so recently I did. And I have to say it's really it's pushed me just like I work with people to push them to reach a higher state of health. This individual is pushing me to reach I think really to just show up at a higher level every day, I think. And so it's been interesting, and it has been tough. It's my first week working with this individual, and she has definitely pushed me, that's for sure. I feel like she has expectations of me, so every time we meet, she expects me to have certain things done, and at the end of the day, I'm paying her, so I kind of expect it of myself.
Right. It's that accountability.
Yeah, accountability. So I feel like she's also pushing me to levels that I would have never pushed myself as of right now. I didn't think that would be the case because I'm not. I told her right off the bat. I said I'm not a lazy person. I'm not someone you have to tell to get out of bed. But there's some areas that I'd like to help me with, and thus far she's been pushing me to new levels, and I think more or less expanding my mindset.
Well, I feel like a coach, for me, early on in life, the coaches I had were in athletics. And what they did is they helped to build you up to make you better. And that's what you do in the health field, but now you have somebody to do that in your personal and business life as well. So, I mean, a coach is your partner, but they're also there to instruct, guide, and lead you and help you to grow. And I feel like that's what is really awesome is now you are going to be a better coach yourself by having a coach. So I'm really excited to see the transformations that come about from this.
Absolutely. Many of my friends have coaches, many of my friends who are in the business world, they have coaches. And I have never done one-on-one before. So this is a switch for me. I've always done more of a group setting, but I didn't feel that I got the benefit from it that I was looking for. So anyway, I will let you know how that goes as time progresses here, and it'll be interesting to see where I go and how I can better myself as well.
Awesome. So now we're going to jump into the review of the week. And this review is from Stitcher and from TJ47679. TJ writes, "This show has changed how I view health. I've listened to every episode, some of them multiple times. I really love how there are clear, easy to implement tips in each episode to help me better my own health. Definitely worthwhile to listen to. Keep it up."
TJ, thank you for that. That's a awesome review, and we really appreciate the reviews because it's the reviews that, first of all, keep us going, right? I mean, they give you the encouragement to do things like this because, I mean, we do this for free, and it's encouraging to know that people are really appreciating it. And so we appreciate the reviews. And then also our shows are literally found through other people seeing reviews like this. So when people who are out there searching different iTunes and Stitcher for podcast shows to listen to, they come across ours because of the great reviews a lot of times. So we appreciate you leaving those reviews, and we look forward to seeing many more.
All right, and for the testimony of the week, this testimony was written about his Sleep Your Way to Health ebook that he published just a few months ago. And this is from Catherine K. Catherine writes, "So happy I was able to read this before the birth of our first child. I have difficulty getting a restful sleep, so having the tools from this book will help me figure out what I need to do to ensure getting the sleep I need. With so much information out there, it can be hard to know what will actually help. This book gives clear and concise tips for getting the healthy sleep we're all searching for." And that was from Catherine K. for the Sleep Your Way to Health ebook.
Yeah, and thank you for that review, Catherine. That was awesome review. And once again, we appreciate knowing that you really enjoyed the book and that it actually was really beneficial to you. If anybody listening wants to find out more information about the book, we actually did a podcast on how important sleep is, and really through my own struggle, why I realized and came to the conclusion that sleep was actually destroying my own health. So listen to that podcast, or you can actually just go to newvisionexcel.com/sleep, and you can learn some more about the sleep ebook and some of the benefits that Catherine's received from reading it, and many other people as well.
All right, so now that we've wrapped up the review and testimony of the week, let's hop into the topic of the podcast, topic number 1, and that is the topic of collagen. Everybody is, it's kind of a buzzword these days, and that's because it is one of the hottest natural anti-aging products on the market. People are using collagen to keep their skin clear, keep it fresh and beautiful, keep their insides, their gut healthy, help their joints feel better, and really just be youthful from the inside out. So let's talk about collagen, the different products that there are out there, and why would somebody want to use them? What are the benefits, and why is it, touted as one of the best anti-aging products on the market?
Okay, so collagen is really incredible. And like you said, it's a buzzword. It's a hot topic. People are really clamoring to get the collagen and all the benefits that come from it. Now, originally, when we would talk about collagen, we would talk about how you could get it from bone broth and the many benefits of that. But the thing is about doing the bone broth is that it's a timely process, right? Like you're not gonna wake up in the morning and make yourself some bone broth. It's a several day process. But the benefit of buying collagen is that it's readily available, it's easy to use, and you can use it in so many ways that you could never actually use the bone broth. So let's talk about what this collagen is. Okay, so collagen is one of the most abundant proteins in the body. It's a primary building block in our skin, our nails, our bones, our tendons, our joints, and our cartilage. You know, it's considered actually to be known as the glue that holds us all together. Now, next question that we get a lot of times is, why do you need this collagen? And the reason for that is, as we get older, the production of collagen in our bodies start to slow down quite a bit, and the cell structures start losing their overall strength. Now, when you are consuming the collagen, it's providing these building blocks for our body, and it's a great way to rejuvenate the body, the cells, the skin, the hair, but it's also a good way to help us stay youthful. It's like an anti-aging supplement. Now, we had mentioned that it supports the bones and it supports the joints, which is a really big deal because part of the aging process is weaker bones. If you aches and pains, right? A lot of people are complaining about knee pains and just pains in every joint of the body. It just becomes a problem for a lot of people. Now, collagen represents up to 90% of the organic bone mass and is a major component of the ligaments and joints and tendons. So it's really crucial for our bodies to have this. Now, collagen has two different ways that we can buy it. Now, when you start looking at the two different products that we are utilizing these days for collagen in order to consume it in our diets, we have the collagen peptides, but we also have something called beef gelatin. And we'll get into how you can use those differently in a minute, but let's first talk about the difference between the two. Okay, so we have both, which are collagen, but one is called peptides and the other one is called beef gelatin. So the collagen peptides and the beef gelatins, they have a very similar amino acid profile, and they also have pretty much the same nutritional benefits. There's not much difference there. However, they're different as far as how you'll use them in the application process. So the peptides are the gelatin proteins broken down. When they're broken down into smaller peptide chains through an enzymatic process. Now, the reason that this is beneficial to use the peptides is because they can be put in either hot or cold liquid. And when you use the gelatin is not in that broken down state. So what can happen is it'll gel up. And so that's why people are using the peptides, because you can put it in juice, you can put it in smoothies, you can put it in all types of cold beverages, and you don't have to actually worry about them gelling up on you. The peptides and the gelatin are things that we both use on a regular basis. I use peptides in my coffee almost every morning. And like I said, the great thing too is you can mix it in with juice and in cold beverages. So that's what I use the peptides for. I don't really get around to personally, using the actual gelatin. But I know that you make some different gelatin things with different products and foods and things like that.
Sure. So what we have, like you said, we have the collagen peptides and we have the beef gelatin, both coming from grass-fed, pasture-raised cows. So with the beef gelatin, one thing that we have used it for and that we absolutely love using it for is making homemade gummies with the kids. My daughter loves making these. We just add some fruit juice. We get that on the stove and we heat that up with a little bit of lemon juice and maybe a little bit of stevia. If it needs to be a little bit extra sweet, but then we just add about 3 tablespoons of gelatin for 1 cup of fruit juice. And we mix that in, we pour it into our molds, and then we have homemade gummies within just an hour or so in the refrigerator. So that's one thing that we really like. I try to avoid the store-bought ones with food coloring and things like that. This is just a good way to get some natural gelatin even into your kids. But
and beyond just the kids, I mean, when I'm working out a lot, I love using those gummies as a superfood, because let's call it like it is. This gelatin, this peptides, all the
protein.
collagen is a protein, but it's also a superfood that is really good for your joints, especially if you're working out a lot. So when I'm really hitting it hard at the gym, I like to make sure that I'm getting as much of this as possible. But so I'll even use those gummies for myself, just because it's a great source of collagen and protein.
Absolutely. Another thing that I do just in the kitchen is when I'm making sauces or gravies, it's a good thickener. So I can use it there. You can use it when you're baking. There's some different recipes out there for that. Puddings, yogurt, all kinds of different things that you can do with the gelatin. But that's what we've used. That's how we've used it in our kitchen. The brand that we use is called Vital Proteins. And you want to talk about, when you're looking for collagen, why it's important to have grass-fed sources.
Yeah, you want to have grass-fed sources. It's just a matter of, it's just like when you're having supplementation. You want to make sure that you have supplementation that is pure, that is free of heavy metals, not full of fillers, just the typical stuff that you're going to find at the regular grocery store. You want to avoid those supplements, right? Well, the same goes for this. Like I said, I would refer to taking collagen either in the peptide or gelatin form as a supplement. And you want to make sure that it's a good source. You want to make sure it's coming from cows that aren't full of antibiotics and different pharmaceuticals. You want to make sure it's coming from cows that are eating grass, that have regular, omega profile where their fat ratios are correct in the body. So you want to make sure it's coming from good quality sources. And that's really the gist of it. I mean, it's just a quality control matter. So you want to make sure that it's good, because if you take supplementation that's poor quality, it actually is going backwards in a sense. Like you're going backwards, you're not going forward, because you're taking something that your body can be sensitive to and you could be having reactions to it. So the same thing goes with the gelatins. You just want to have a good quality source, and that's why we trust the Vital Protein source. And you can check that out in the New Vision store under the protein tab.
It'll also be linked underneath in the show notes as well for you if you just want a quick link.
Right, and so the one thing that we didn't mention about gelatin that's important is that it's very good for the gut too. And so a lot of people have what we call leaky gut. It's estimated that 95% of people are actually suffering from leaky gut. This is when food particles can actually slip through the intestinal barrier, get into the bloodstream, cause food sensitivities, drive inflammation in the body, cause just complete havoc, imbalance in the Th1, Th2 immune response in the body. And so when you consume the gelatin, it actually helps with that leaky gut process. It puts a coating in the small intestines, which is really beneficial and just helps the healing process. It helps heal those gap junctions in leaky gut. And therefore, once you are able to put that all together, you're able to have a healthier gut. You're able to have healthier hair, skin, nails, bones, so many things from collagen. There's some of the success stories that we've actually seen come out of people using collagen are pretty incredible. I'm really surprised because, as someone who takes care of myself, I don't see huge, immense, massive benefits when I start something new. It's not typical, and it's just because I'm a healthy individual. However, some people who have started using the collagen that we offer have reported less skin, aging spots on their skin. They've reported that their wrinkles have decreased. They've reported that their skin is less saggy. And
personally, I've had 2 kids, so I had some looser skin around my midsection. Even though I toned up post-pregnancy, I still had loose skin in my lower abdomen area. And we just started using collagen peptides on a daily basis, probably about 6 to 7 months ago is when I started using collagen on a daily basis. We always had the gelatin, but we didn't have the collagen peptides that I could just stir into my coffee every morning. So for me, that's very convenient. Well, anyway, I've noticed that my skin has toned significantly and it's not nearly as saggy in my lower abdomen, which I'm very excited about.
Right. And so the collagen is immensely beneficial. We'd highly suggest giving it a try. And just like any form of natural healing, you have to give it time. A lot of people, they want to start utilizing something like this and they look for a huge response 2 days after they start. You got to give it time. I would say that you probably shouldn't expect results probably no earlier than a month or so. A lot of the results that we've seen in feedback we've gotten have been people who have utilized it for every bit of a month, I'd say. So that's what I would suggest. But definitely check it out and read on it. The collagen has immense benefits, and it's a great tool for cooking as well. I mean, some of the things you were talking about.
Right. So instead of thickening your sauces and gravies with all-purpose flour or cornstarch, which neither are good for you, use beef gelatin. All right. So the next topic, in the beginning of the podcast, we were talking about Thanksgiving coming up on Thursday. Well, right after Thanksgiving, we start into the holiday season with Black Friday. So if you are like me, you are just starting to get started with the Christmas shopping. If you need some ideas, one idea that we have for you is the smart trackers. But there's a lot of different ones on the market, and a lot of people don't really know the importance of them and how to use them. So can you jump into that topic for us?
Right. Smart trackers are really a hot item these days. As a matter of fact, they're expected to be one of the top items sold at Christmas time this year. And when you look at the smart trackers that are out there, the Fitbits, the Apple Watches, the Aura Ring, the Embrace wristband, all these different smart trackers that are out there, they're hugely popular. And the Apple Watch in particular was the second most bought watch in the world last year, and it was second to Rolex. So Rolex was number one, Apple Watch was number two. But the reason that these smart trackers are so beneficial is not only because they tell you real-time data of what is actually occurring in your body at that point in time, but also they could potentially save your life. One of the things that I really love about them is that they can tell you if your body is stressed. So stress in the human body, it comes in a lot of different forms. It can be physical, it can be psychological, or it can even be toxic trauma to the body. When the body's under stress, the sympathetic nervous system will start to kick in. This is the part of the nervous system that we refer to as the fight or flight part. The sympathetic state is designed to keep us alive as our body perceives threats, but it also is the state that can damage our body. So when it becomes chronic, this sympathetic state, our bodies start to suffer. In the sympathetic state, our heart will beat more rapidly to prepare ourselves for a stressful event. With an abnormally high heart rate, we can see our body is under stress. So studies show that if we have chronically high heart rates, we are more likely to suffer from disease and even death. After a long day of work, you might find yourself fatigued and you may not be feeling so great after that. And there's a high possibility that if you were to actually look at your heart rate would be very high. And so when you have this fitness tracker, you might wake up in the morning and look at the fitness tracker and see that your heart rate is a certain number, let's say 70 beats per minute. And then at night when you go to bed, your heart rate is 95 beats per minute, right? So you can see that your body has fatigued over the day, your body's struggling, it's time for some repair. I remember that I had, it was a long day, I was fatigued, and when I looked at my fitness tracker at night, my heart rate was like 105, and it was up like 20 points from the morning. So anyway, you can start to gauge your overall health through these different fitness trackers, and that's one reason I love them, is to be able to tell if your body is in a stress state or not. The next reason is to tell you if you're getting enough exercise, because when we exercise, we are strengthening our bones, our muscles, our ligaments, but also we're strengthening our heart because our heart is a muscle. And when we exercise when we exercise and strengthen our heart, it increases our performance. So if you look at this, an obese individual often have a higher resting heart rate. This is because the heart is working much harder due to not being strengthened through exercise and having to push through a larger blood supply through the fat. In a fit and trim individual, their heart rate is often more low. A well-trained athlete often will have a resting heart rate below 60 beats per minute. During physical activity, we can also monitor our heart rate to see if we are in the zone, and we can know that if we can know what our heart rate is and know what our zone is, our heart rate zone for exercise, we can push ourselves in the upper limits that our body can tolerate as far as exercise goes. And that we know that the better our resting heart rate is, the lower it is, the healthier we're going to be overall. It shows that we have a better overall fitness level. And people who, we'll talk about this more in a minute, but people who have a lower resting heart rate are less likely to suffer from heart disease and some of the major diseases out there.
So you're saying that it's not only is it helpful in the day-to-day to see, trying to get your resting heart rate lower, but also during physical activity through your exercise, it's kind of a gauge to say, all right, I need to push myself harder. My heart rate's only 120. I need to kick it up a notch.
Absolutely. So we can post a link to, or maybe in the show notes we can actually put a chart in there. But based on your age, you can go in and look at what your resting heart rate should be. You can go in and look at where your zone is for exercise. And so if I'm out running, for instance, I know that if I'm at, let's say, 130 and my 130 beats per minute in my zone for my age is right around the 150 or 160, then I know that I can push myself harder regardless of me, thinking I'm going to die. So you can look at that and you can gauge, okay, I'm able to push myself harder. I'm able to go harder. My body can handle it. So, based on your age and you kind of type in some of those metrics, you can figure out where your zone is and get better overall fitness through that. Okay, now the other thing that we're able to monitor a little bit here with the smart trackers is if chronic disease is in your future. So it's estimated that 29.1 million people suffer from diabetes, 8.1 million people have it but remain unaware or undiagnosed. Many studies link diabetes with an increased heart rate. We also know that if you suffer from diabetes, then you're most likely going to suffer from heart disease, cancer, and many other diseases. Thus, therefore, an abnormally high heart rate, we can correlate to the possibility that you are going to have some sort of serious disease in your future. So if we can watch that heart rate, which many of these fitness trackers will tell us, the abnormally high heart rate is very much associated to a disease in your future. So we want to pay attention to that heart rate for that purposes as well. Now, another really cool reason that you can use these smart trackers is to monitor your food and drink. When you consume food and drink, it shouldn't send your heart into a frenzy. In the past, I had an individual share his story with me that after consuming an energy drink, his heart had started racing so fast that he began to have palpitations and wound up in the emergency room. If you find your heart is significantly increased after consuming certain foods or beverages, it would be a very wise decision to stop consuming those different foods or beverages. So if you're, for instance, drinking a Monster energy drink and your heart's going into a complete frenzy after that, it's a good indication you shouldn't eat that. You can also monitor your heart in the way that if you're consuming a huge meal that is almost uncomfortable for your body, then your heart's going to do different things than if you were to consume a nice light meal. So, it's one of those things where it's just monitoring your heart rate is going to just overall show you how to work with your body well. It's like inside data. It's real-time data. So if you can get that real-time data, then there you'll be able to make better decisions for your health. Now, here's another interesting one too, is that we can also detect in a way, some thyroid problems from the fitness tracker as well. And due to the onslaught of toxicity and environmental problems, so many people are suffering from thyroid issues today, especially women. When you suffer from hypothyroidism, you feel really sluggish because you're not pumping out enough hormones, and it's ultimately going to lower your heart rate. So conversely, when you suffer from hypothyroidism, the thyroid is overactive and can cause your heart to increase, and this will need further testing from your doctor to actually specifically look at your thyroid. However, it certainly can be an indication that you're having some thyroid issues if your heart rate is too high or too low. And then the last thing I want to mention is that the fitness tracker can actually help show you if you're properly hydrated. As you become dehydrated, the electric charges in your body start to shift due to electrolyte imbalances. And it really messes with your body's chemistry, potentially resulting in like an arrhythmia. This will manifest a higher heart rate, so be sure to consider the hydration level when your heart varies from the norm without a good reason. So there's all these different things, all these different metrics that you can see about your health through your heart rate. So a lot of these fitness trackers are actually telling us what our heart rate is, and there's a couple of them I wanted to talk about here. And so one of them being the Apple Watch, the second one being the Fitbit, and then there's one called the Oura Ring, and an Embrace wristband. Now, the Apple Watch is probably, I think it's one of the best bang for your buck. Just the fact that you can update it, that you can download tons of apps on it. It's more of the expensive luxury version of the fitness tracker. However, it gives you some really cool data. I personally like the Apple Watch because you can go running with it, and it's got the GPS on it, so you can really track your speed. You can track distances and all of that. So that's awesome. You can take it in the water, use it for swimming as well and track that. It's got the heart rate sensor. It's got an app that is surprisingly accurate that watches your breathing patterns, which is interesting because your breathing patterns change over time with stressful situations. Stressful situations will slow down your breath or speed up your breath, and so it's interesting to see how that changes, because in the field of physiology, you can help yourself get through stressful situations if you learn how to breathe through them properly. And so the breathing app is kind of cool on the Apple Watch as well. And there's also a ton of third-party apps, and I think that it's only going to continue to get better and better. Now, like I said, the Apple Watch is the more expensive version. There's also the Fitbit. And I would have to say that by far, I see probably more people with the Fitbit than any other watch or any other fitness tracker out there. Yeah, any other smart tracker. Now,
it's so readily available, and there's all different price points for the Fitbit, everything from like a $70 to $90 range up to $200. So.
And I think that's why the Fitbit is so popular, because it's very affordable. And they actually the new one that they came out with, it's tracking sleep, which I forgot to mention about the Apple Watch. It tracks sleep too, but the new Fitbit is tracking sleep, which is cool now. So that's important too. I actually talk about that in the sleep ebook that I wrote of how you can actually better your sleep using the smart trackers. So Fitbit does that, where they'll actually send all the data to your phone, and there's an app that you can use and monitor your sleep. So that's pretty cool too, because it's good to know if you're waking up in the middle of the night, tossing and turning all night, and not actually getting into that good REM sleep that is recharging your body. So there's that one. There's the Oura Ring. The Oura Ring is pretty interesting. I don't have an Oura Ring, but they're known to be very accurate in tracking sleep data in overall energy levels. And so that's spelled OURA, Aura Ring. They're very focused on their overall design. Like when you go to the website, you'll see that they talk about the beauty of it so much and how it's like this beautiful ring that you can put on your finger. But for the price of it, it's up. I think it's $300. It's an expensive gadget, and I'm just not sold on it. Maybe if I used it, I would probably be a big fan of it, and probably just because it's so small. It's nice, but in the same hand, for the price of it, it just doesn't do as many things as I'd like to see it do. And I'm not sure that it updates, which is important. Any type of smart device at all, updates are important.
Absolutely. Otherwise, it's obsolete in a year or two.
Right. Now, the last one I want to talk about is the Embrace wristband. So this is really cool. So it's for monitoring physiological stress, arousal, sleep, and also physical activity. Now, the Embrace wristband is I think it's absolutely fascinating because people and patients who are having seizures can actually wear these, and through the electrodermal sensor in it, it'll detect the electrical charge in the skin, and it'll be able to give a warning if there's a possibility of you having seizures. So patients who have epilepsy, this is really cool. Like I couldn't imagine not even trying. I mean, like if I had epilepsy, I would definitely have one of these, or if I had the risk of seizures. Now, I think the Embrace is beyond seizures, is very cool because they really focus on just getting that raw data, which just makes them very specific. And they're even in the health field. Harvard is using their technology to test it with patients. So I really like what they're doing, and I think their stuff is great. But because it doesn't have all the tracking for fitness, it's not for me. I want to be able to have the GPS and all that as well. So in a nutshell, those are all the different fitness trackers that are out there. Not all of them, but the ones that are really highly looked at right now and popular. And so
especially in the health realm.
In the health realm, absolutely. And I think they're going to get better and better. I'd like to see some of these actually tracking heart rate variability, and none of them do that yet. You can actually use the HeartMath device, which is a great device too. It just clips on your finger or your ear, and it looks at your heart rate variability, which is the rhythm between each heartbeat. And with that rhythm, you're able to tell, is your body in a sympathetic, a stress state, or a parasympathetic rest state. And you're also able to tell you how your nervous system is functioning that day, and if your body is fatigued or not. And so it gives you a lot of good data. And when people have poor heart rate variability scores, once again, that's correlated with diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, you name it. So there's a lot of great data you can get from there. So all these smart trackers together, I think, offer a lot of great data for us to be able to pull from our bodies just on a daily basis. I like it from the health perspective. I mean, there's some people who literally get like an Apple Watch just because it's a digital watch on their wrist. But like, I love being able to monitor all the health metrics with these. I even use them in my patients, and I have them send me some of the data that they're getting from it. It's great information on a day-to-day basis.
Right. It's a great tool. And it's something that somebody may not only want for Christmas, but they may need it too. So give the gift of health this holiday season. So just to recap, we talked about the importance of collagen in your body and what that can do for you, both how to consume collagen and beef gelatin. We talked about smart trackers and the top 6 reasons why it's important to be monitoring your health through smart trackers, and then the top 4 smart trackers for health. For more information, head over to newvisionexcel.com. There you can find a whole archive full of blog posts written by Dr. Zyrowski. You can find our old podcast episodes, which include our show notes, a lot of helpful tips there. But if you're ready for a full body transformation, then the Thrive program is for you. You want to click on the Programs tab, and that's where you can get started.
Thanks, guys, for joining us on the show today. I hope that you got a lot of value out of these different topics. You start using collagen on a daily basis or on somewhat of a regular basis. You start looking into some of these different smart trackers and ones that can benefit you if you're going to have them. And also that I hope we gave you some good information so that you know what to do with some of the data that you're receiving from your heart tracker or your smart device. Okay, so have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next show.
Happy Thanksgiving.
If you want more information to multiply your health and simplify your lifestyle, visit our website at excelpodcast.com. Until next time, have an outstanding day.